Hello, lovely people. It's Saturday. Yay! How are we all feeling this morning? Yeah, sorry I'm slightly late. My computer the last couple of days hasn't worked, and I've just realised it's because it's trying to do a system update. So that might also be the reason why the Zoom thing. What's the weather like there? It's actually really sunny here, which is fabulous. So after this, I'm going to I think I'll probably take the dog to the park. Anyway, I digress. This morning we are going to talk about crystals and essential oils. So the first thing to talk about when we talk about crystals and essential oils is this is purely around symptom management. So you are highly unlikely to get to the bottom of your endometriosis by using crystals and essential oils. That's not to say that you can't. They have healing properties. Anything is possible, as we know, but it's just highly unlikely, and it's more likely just to help with, not just to help with symptoms, but to help with symptoms rather than full-on assault on the cause of your endometriosis. So that's the first thing to say. Sorry, I'm just, there we go. Yeah, it's trying to do a system update again. Fabulous. So yes, crystals and essential oils. I've lumped them together primarily because I was running out of time this month, but in actual fact they actually do deserve slots all to themselves because they do have individual properties, and even used individually by themselves they are highly effective in helping with certain conditions and certain symptoms. I've lumped them together today because I do tend to use them together, and they do have very similar characteristics as well. So if I'm talking about one, I may as well talk about the other. So the second thing to say when we're talking about crystals and essential oils is that these are both highly personal things. I think I've said previously, and if you work with me then you'll have heard me say it a lot, that if you're picking crystals, if you're picking essential oils, and you start with something that you don't particularly like, then you're onto a losing battle. So always pick something that you're drawn to. So for example, crystals, pick a crystal that you like. All crystals have healing properties, which we'll come on to, and the same with essential oils. Lavender, for example, is a fantastic essential oil. It helps with so many ailments. It's an absolutely beautiful essential oil. However, a lot of people can't stand the smell of lavender. So if you're one of these people who don't like the smell of lavender, don't use lavender. Doesn't matter how fantastic the properties are. If you're using it for you, if you're using it to overcome your symptoms, then don't start with it. So that's the first top tip I've got. Always go with what you're drawn to. Always go with what you think you're going to like. That makes sense. Essential oils, go with what smells nice to you. Crystals, go with what looks nice to you. That's before we get into all the different properties of things. So we shall start with crystals. So crystals are basically stones and minerals that, again, you'll have heard me say in different lives this month, or if you work with me, again, you'll hear me say it a lot, but fundamental to the healing that I do and that lots of other people do in terms of Eastern medicine, alternative medicine, is this belief that we are all energetic beings, for one. And I know that sounds a bit woo, it sounds a bit out there, but in essence, the belief is that because we all come from the same source, be that the Big Bang, God, gods, whatever you believe, that created everything in the same thing. And so everything resonates, everything is linked together with vibrations. This is science as well. It sounds a bit weird, but it's actually science. Quantum physics dictates that human beings vibrate at certain frequencies, and those vibrations do change. So if your mood is up, if your mood is down, then your vibrations will fluctuate depending on those moods. Everything natural has a vibration. So it's not just human beings that vibrate. Crystals, stones, everything that is formed from the same source has vibrations. They vibrate at their own frequencies. And what can happen is, or what does happen, is that the vibrations of one thing can impact something else. So for example, if there's a person or a situation that instantly calms you, then that could just be because your vibrations are responding to their vibrations. so that sort of somebody vibrating at a high level, you start doing this, so you're kind of picking up their vibrations. Your body, like a magnet, will change the vibrations depending on what situation you're in, but depending who you're with and what you're near as well, which is why being out in nature is so valuable to people who are struggling either with emotional issues or physical issues as well, because the more we are near naturally vibrating things, the more natural our vibrations become, the calmer our vibrations come. So that's the kind of, there's a whole way more detail behind crystals and healing properties of crystals and that. But that's the basic concept of it. So when you're using crystals, you're tapping into the vibrational energy of the crystal. And different crystals vibrate at slightly different frequencies. So you can use them depending on what you want to achieve. They all have different healing properties as well. So for example, when we're talking specifically about endometriosis, and again, like I said at the beginning, this is all very, very personal. So as well as personal preference, we're talking about personal symptoms, individual symptoms. But as catch-all crystals, the best ones to use, the best ones to look out for are Amethyst, which is a really, really nice general healing crystal. It comes in many different forms. So this is a beautiful amethyst there. They tend all to be purple, but they're not all purple. So that's a beautiful amethyst there. I don't know if you can see. I've got to turn my email off as well. Email are pinging through. So again, beautiful, beautiful amethysts. And I'll talk through how you can use them as well after I've gone through the different crystals that I'd recommend. So amethyst is really good. It's good just to have around generally because it's a good cleansing energy, it's a good healing energy. So if you're struggling generally with negative thoughts or with general fatigue or any sort of negativity, any kind of recurring illness, anything like that, amethysts are really good. Similarly, rose quartz. So rose quartz that's the best example I have of rose quartz. Now that is a clear rose quartz. You can get, I have like a black quartz as well, which is beautiful. But the clear ones are the ones that I would recommend for just general healing as well. Anti-inflammatory, really nice kind of antidepressants as well. Really, really nice, gentle clearing and healing that kind of your catch-all crystals. And then we get into specific ailments and things. So one that I don't particularly like this, so I would never wear. So this is one of the bracelets. This is rose quartz. That's clear quartz. Sorry, that was clear quartz. This is rose quartz. Rose quartz is brilliant for low self-esteem, feeling unvalued, anxiety. So if you've kind of got that low self-esteem, rose quartz is one of the crystals that's fantastic for building feelings of love. So it's great for like Valentine's presents and things, but it's also really good for self-esteem. Personally, I'm never drawn to rose quartz. It doesn't resonate with me, so I don't tend to use that, and that's not because I don't have the symptoms that it can help. It's just that for me it's just not my thing. Moss agate, that's really good for inflammation. So if you get inflammation as part of your endometriosis, then moss agate is really good. That's kind of a green. I'll just go and just take these out because I have actually got the. So again, this is one of my favourites, I think, because it's a nice earthy colour. So I don't know how well this is going to show up. But yeah, that sort of mossy, greeny agate, that's a really, really lovely crystal, and that's really good for inflammation and for other sort of stagnation things that come with endometriosis. That's a really, really nice crystal. So how to use crystals? I would say as well, just Google. It's not very professional of me to say, but just use Google. Google's as good as anything to find out information on crystals and the properties of different crystals. So if you're drawn to the way I started with crystals was I just picked up crystals, and I shall show you. Oops. This is just a handful. Oh, I'll put this back in. This is just a handful of the crystals I have. So when I started off with crystals. I actually started off, I didn't intend to use crystals at all, but I went to a Reiki share once, many, many years ago, and they used crystals in it. And up until that point, I'd kind of been a bit, didn't really get it, didn't really believe it. And then we used crystals in this Reiki share session, and the impact was phenomenal. So I started using crystals just on a very, very personal basis. And initially, I just picked crystals that I was drawn to. So I started off with tumblestones, which is a really good place to start because they're relatively inexpensive. And I started off just in the days where we could just walk into shops. I started off just picking up, this is a beautiful, look at that quartz. I don't know if that's doing it justice on the camera, but it's absolutely beautiful, rainbow colours, it's lovely. But you'll be drawn to certain crystals. So that's, if I was advising anybody in terms of starting off with crystals, that's where I would start, and that's where I did start. Just picking individual crystals that you're drawn to, and then jump on Google, figure out what they are, figure out different properties and how they work, and take time to feel how you feel when you're holding them. Crystal healing, you can hold crystals while you're doing your meditation if you are sort of a spiritual person, if you pray, if you meditate. If you do Reiki, then just holding crystals can just be so powerful. You can also use them in terms of chakra points, which is something we haven't delved into on this month, but I will do a live on chakras at some point. But you can also use them on your chakra points as well, just for increased efficacy, to make your chakras better. So yeah, you can use them like that. In terms of how I've supported my clients with crystals, we have used them in treatments, but also in terms of just day-to-day, keeping them, popping them in your bra is a really good one if you do wear a bra. Popping them in your bra is a really good one, popping them in your pocket. I know people that attach them to their mobile phones. Sometimes that's to do with the radiation coming off the phones, but also it's sort of a personal thing as well in terms of protection. Protection, crystals are great for protection. So if you're feeling a bit iffy, if you're feeling like you're going to be walking into a negative situation, we're getting way off endometriosis now, but if you feel like you're walking into a negative situation, if you wake up feeling a bit vulnerable, if you wake up feeling a bit fearful, then crystals are really good. Black ombudsman is really good as a protective stone. So it can really help, especially with endometriosis, because as we know from earlier broadcasts, fear and anxiety and vulnerability is really, really common amongst people with endometriosis. So if that is one of your things, then protection is great. Amethyst and quartz as well for protection are really, really good. But there's so many crystals out there. So start with crystals that you're drawn to. Google specific crystals. So if you know, for example, that inflammation is one of your big key things, you've got your moss agate to start. But if you're not drawn to that, then Google what other crystals are out there that can help. Or go and see a crystal healer as well. I shouldn't just say Google, because it annoys me when people say, come to me and say, I've Googled this, so I know that this is wrong. Speak to a crystal healer as well, of which I am not one. And interestingly, I don't actually have a crystal healer on my program, so that might be something I'll look into. But yeah, that's how crystals work. So crystals work because they vibrate at frequencies that alter our vibrations. Not massively, they're not going to change your personality. They're not going to make any high impactful changes, but they'll just really, really gently just relax you. And the different frequency of the different crystal responds to different symptoms. So Google your symptoms and what crystals will help, and just go with the ones you're drawn to. And it can be a lifetime learning. You're always learning when you start to look at crystals. In terms of, so I've talked about tumble stones. So they're perfect. You can either hold them in the hand, in the bra, in the pockets, wherever you want. You can also wear them as jewellery. So for example, necklaces with, now this is actually a dowsing crystal, but you can get these as pendants as well. So you can wear them around your neck. Up until today, I was wearing a moonstone around my neck, which is fantastic for hormonal balance. And all things divine feminine. I find that really strong. I can't wear it for more than a couple of days because I find the energy from it really, really strong. So again, I was drawn to it, but it's not necessarily beneficial for me all the time. So I find that I'm drawn to wear it at certain points of my cycle. But moonstone's a lovely crystal as well. So I wear a moonstone necklace a lot of the time. You can get them in lava bracelets. We can get them just in bracelets. So this one is a tiger eye. So tiger eye is fantastic for, it brings luck, it brings clarity. So if you've got decisions to make, it brings luck. So everything should be on your side. It's the stone of success. And it's also great for anxiety, where your anxiety is triggered by feelings of not being good enough, or procrastination, things like that. So tiger eye is brilliant. So you can get them in bracelets that are just made up purely of the crystals or the stones. And then you can get these, which are lava bracelets, which is a nice tie into the next section. So I should have done this at the end. But you get the beads, which are the crystal beads. So I've got a mixture on here. There's amethyst, moss agate, and just some normal beads. And then you get the black ones, which are lava beads, which are absorbent. So you can pop drops of essential oils onto instead of putting it on your skin, you put it on the bracelet. It absorbs it and then it releases it, slow release during the day. So you've always got the scent of the essential oils with the bracelet. So jewellery, tumble stones, you can also, like I've already shown you, you can also have in the rawest form, and they just sit around. Selenite's a really nice one just to have lying around. You can get selenite towers, they're really nice. I actually have one by the bed, but common theory tells you not to put them by the bed, but I find it really good in terms of dreaming, and it does help me sleep. Amethyst would do exactly the same. I actually have this one beside my smart speaker, and I'll actually show you a lovely cleansing. I can do this, Rouse. Shall I show you? I can't reach. So again, this is a quartz. This is a quartz one as well. And this one has actually been sat beside my smart speaker for the last few months. But yeah, just to have these lying around, you can put them beside your computer, just to soak up the energy from the computer. If you are struggling mentally, then keep it closer to you as well, because again, it just soaks up all the energy and your vibrations change depending on how close it is. That's an absolutely a lovely one. Again, I don't think it's really been shown justice on here. In terms of cleansing crystals, because they absorb energy, it is important to cleanse them every now and again, just to keep the purity and stop them being negative, if that makes sense. The way to clear crystals, you've got three options. The first one is Reiki, so you can Reiki or use whatever term you use for energy, you can energy cleanse it. The second one is to leave it out under the light of a full moon, which is beautifully romantic. And the third one is to wash it in water, which is less romantic. If you're washing it in water, then don't use soap or water. Don't use soap or washing up liquid, nothing like that. Literally just water. Flowing water is better if you can, and filtered water, natural water, so there's no chemicals in it from the tap, is better. So that's how you cleanse crystals, and I'd recommend doing them. Well, again, when you're minded to, but depends how often you're using it. Depends how symptomatic you are, how much negativity it's picking up. But if you want to pop them under every full moon, then all that will do is strengthen the crystals anyway. You're not going to do any damage. So that's crystals. Essential oils. So essential oils, similar to crystals, very, very personal. So I've already said about lavender, and I only picked lavender because lavender is one of the most healing essential oils. It's one of the better essential oils in terms of all-roundness that you can get. But it's also one of the most polarizing, because a lot of my clients will say, yes, I'm really up for trying essential oils, but not lavender. I hate lavender. It reminds me of X, Y, and Z. So if you like lavender, lavender is one of the best ones that you can use. But yeah, like I say, not many people do, or not everybody does. So in terms of other essential oils that you can use, well, we've got frankincense is my best. I wasn't going to start here, but frankincense is my favourite oil. Now, frankincense is, again, it's kind of a good all-rounder. It's very earthy, which again is why I think I'm drawn to it, because of its earthy properties. It's really, really good in terms of relaxation, overall well-being. So if you've got something like, I mean, the rose quartz, but if you've got your green agate and moss agate and green amethyst bracelets and things, a couple of drops of amethyst on there will work wonders. It also supports cellular function, so it supports the regeneration of your cells. So if you're struggling with the scar tissue, endometriosis, as we know from previous broadcasts, loves a bit of scar tissue. So if you're struggling with recovery after an operation, if you're struggling with bloating as well, then frankincense is fantastic in terms of recovery and regeneration of cells. So if you're doing the stomach massage, I always use frankincense on the stomach massage. Now, if you're using it, and again, I'm jumping all over the place, but if you're using it in terms of massage, always dilute it, always add a carrier oil to it. Now, carrier oils, so by carrier oils, I mean things like olive oil, vegetable oil, just something to dilute the essential oil. Carrier oils have their own properties as well. So if you're going for an anti-inflammatory stomach massage, I would use an avocado carrier oil and frankincense. That would be my recommendation. If you don't like frankincense, we'll come on to some of the anti-inflammatory essential oils, but that's my go-to. Every now and again, I'll add different things to frankincense. Again, it's very, very personal. So yes, essential oils have different properties depending on what plants they come from. So we're harnessing the natural power of plants. So in the same way that a herbalist uses them, we're kind of doing the same thing, but just with the oil. So the leaves or the flowers are squeezed and the oil's extracted from it. The world of essential oils has changed massively over the last 5 years. You probably will, or you may have heard of, there's a couple or a few multi-level marketing companies that have jumped on the essential oil bandwagon, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because it raises the profile of essential oils, and by and large the quality of those oils is top notch, because previously it was a bit hit and miss when people were sort of delving into the world of essential oils. So it's a bit hit and miss in terms of the quality of the oils. By and large, the oils from the multi-level marketing companies do tend to be better quality. I haven't checked them all out, but the ones that I have checked out, I can't really say a bad word against. Just depends on your personal view of multi-level marketing as to whether you choose to use them. I actually do use oils from one of them, and I do like them. I think they are good quality, but there's so many others out there as well. So in terms of inflammatory stuff, so if you do struggle with inflammation, if you do struggle with bloating as part of your endometriosis, if you don't want to use frankincense in terms of your stomach massage, then you can also use things like eucalyptus. Bergamot's quite nice. That's quite a flowery one as well. That's really good. And you can actually mix. I've mixed bergamot and frankincense, and that's kind of an acquired smell, an acquired scent, but that works for me as well. Thyme as well. Thyme's really good. So again, you can, just in terms of eating thyme and things, but in terms of essential oils as well. So things in terms of general relaxation, again, frankincense, I love frankincense, but frankincense is fantastic in terms of general relaxation. Lavender, I love sandalwood as well. Anything really that you like is going to relax you. It's going to bring feelings of good well-being and raise your vibrations. Things like citrus smells are really good. So if your mind is foggy, if you're struggling with the endometriosis, brain fog, then things like tangerine, orange, lemon, lime, those citrusy kind of scents are really, really good for clarity and uplifting the spirit as well. So anxiety and depression, the essential oils of the citrusy type families are really, really good as well. So, and again, it's personal preference, but choose oils that you're drawn to and go from there. If you do have any specific questions, then please do message me. I am a qualified aromatherapist, so I can assist with contraindications as well, because there are some essential oils that you shouldn't use if you have underlying conditions. There are some essential oils that don't mix well with pets. So if you, and I'm not in terms of like putting them on pets, but even if the pets are just near them, in terms of respiration. So if you do have any questions, please do message me. I'm more than happy to give advice about specific essential oils. That's not a problem at all. So how to use essential oils? Well, again, you've got different methods. So we've talked about massage. So you've got the topical application of essential oils. So the most common one is massage. So that's when you dilute the essential oils in a carrier oil and massage it directly into the skin. And again, depending on what massage you're doing, what results you want. Avocado oil is fantastic for inflammation, for decreasing inflammation. Coconut oil is a really lovely one as well. This is the one I tend to use in my practice because it's really, again, it's good for cellular regeneration. It's good for, it's got antibiotic, like antibiotic properties as well. So it's really good in terms of cleansing. It's good for the skin. I use it for people have, a lot of my clients have sort of eczema on their scalp. So we use it in terms of like a hair wash or a like a tincture just for the hair as well, because it's for the scalp, because it will nourish the hair as well. It's a really, really nice one, that. So again, just have a play around. If you don't want to fork out money, then just use what you've got in the kitchen. Hemp oil is really good as well. If you can get some hemp oil, excuse me, or whatever you use in the kitchen, vegetable oil, absolutely cracking. Yeah, so how else to use them? So diffusers, if you like your house to smell nice, then you have two options. You have a diffuser, which I should have got this, just bear with me 2 seconds. Ta-da! That is a diffuser. So what a diffuser does, there's different types of diffusers. This is a steam diffuser. So basically what you do is pop some water in there, pop a couple of drops of essential oil in there, press the button, and that will basically, it's not plugged in obviously, but that will basically just keep a stream of steam coming out of there with your essential oil in it. So that's a really nice way of having it. I would only use that for about an hour at a time, no longer than an hour at a time. Essential oils can be quite overpowering and overwhelming. That's a really nice way just to have it sat on your desk or sat in your hallway, just to have it. You can have them intermittently going as well. So if you use plugins, I talked a lot about this when I was talking about toxins in the environment and the unseen hormone disruptors in air fresheners. If you do like an air freshener, I'd recommend replacing your plug-in and your chemical air freshener with essential oils, and those diffusers are a really nice way of doing that. You can also just pop a couple of essential oil drops on either in a saucer of water or on cotton wool buds and leave them on the radiator in the winter when you've got all your radiators on. That's a really nice way of getting it into the atmosphere. Controversial is the topic of putting it directly on the skin. As with everything, you can have allergic reactions to things. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, just because something's natural doesn't mean it's safe necessarily. Or doesn't mean it's safe, full stop. So avoid wearing it directly on the skin. Some essential oils say that you can put it directly on the skin. Some essential oils say that you can even ingest it. I would treat those claims with a little bit of cynicism. I do wear it directly on my skin. I have I make my own perfumes essentially with essential oil. Most of them are diluted, not to the same extent as a massage oil is. Some of them I will just, so if I just want a quick thing, I will just put a drop on my pulse points. But that's because I know that I won't react to it. The best thing to do to start with is either to dilute it, even if it's just 1 drop of essential oil in a teaspoon of carrier oil, just dilute it a little bit just to see how your skin reacts to it. The other way, like I say, is to wear lava. So you can get lava necklaces as well. You can even get lava stuff that you stick in the car as well, that you put a couple of drops of essential oil in, and it's like a slow release. So that will give you the same effect of having it on your wrist, but without the potential skin implication. And if you do have any allergies or any severe reactions, then that will be enough to show up on your skin. So just be wary of any rashes or any patches of dry skin if you are trying that. So I think that's it. Like I say, very, very personal journeys. Healing properties are really powerful, but it's just in terms of symptom management. You're very, very unlikely. You can sort out other conditions with crystals and with essential oils, but with endometriosis, because it's so complex, no one thing is ever going to sort it. So you're not looking at curing your endometriosis. You're not looking at clearing everything with your endometriosis with crystals and with essential oils. But in terms of the toolkit, especially in terms of my clients, I always recommend crystals and essential oils as part of the toolkit that we're looking at, because it just is another thing to help your body regenerate itself, to keep you clear of inflammation, to keep you clear of anxiety, depending on your symptoms. They are really, really useful tools in that toolkit. I hope that's been helpful. If you have any questions at all, then please do feel free to message me. Like I say, I'm a qualified aromatherapist. I'm not a qualified crystal healer. I'm very much an intuitive crystal person, and that's how I kind of teach my clients to be as well. But if you want a bit more information, I do know some crystal therapists. I've been to see a couple as well, so I could tap them up, see if they're willing to share their knowledge on here as well, if that would be of use to people. So yeah, I hope that's really, really helped, just in terms of knowledge of crystals, knowledge of essential oils. It's a fantastic journey to go on. So if you are thinking of looking into crystals or essential oils, then it's a really, really nice trip to go on. I do have taster essential oil pots if people want any. I'm not part of the multi-level marketing thing. I have an account, which just means I get discounts, and I would pass the discounts on to you if you wanted to buy them, but I don't get any kickback in terms of whatever else happens with multi-level marketing things. I have an account with doTERRA. I also have accounts with other non-multi-level marketing, Yokumbaya something. I can't remember the name. That's really bad marketing, and that's actually essential oils that I tend to use most of, the Japanese ones rather than the doTERRA ones. But it does mean that I can get a discount if you are wanting to go down that path. That's absolutely fine. I do have little tester pots as well. So if you're interested in trying out an essential oil, let me know. In terms of quality of oil, always go for pure essential oils. You can get blends. If anything says blend on the, I actually had one. I did a webinar on essential oils not long ago, and I actually found one. It actually came with the diffuser, and it said essential oil blend. Stay clear of them because they're not pure essential oils. They've got perfume. Anything that says blend or anything that says parfum on the label means it's not pure essential oils. And that goes for, I did it again in the talk about toxins. I talked a lot about natural products. Some of the things like shampoos, perfume, obviously, shower gels, things like that, even the ones that purport to be natural, even the ones that are more natural than the others that say essential oils, just check the label, because if it says perfume, that's not a pure essential oil. That is kind of an essential oil, but it's not. A lot of times they'll put maybe a drop of mint or a drop of orange in to say it's essential oils, but actually when you look at it, most of it's perfume, which is chemical. It's a chemical equivalent of the essential oils, or a blend is it's either watered down or it's a chemical approximation of an essential oil. So it's always pure essential oils. Tend to get what you pay for, so the more expensive oils tend to be the better quality ones, just because the process of extracting it is long and tedious, probably. I don't know, I've never done it. It's probably not tedious. I'm sure they absolutely love their job. But yeah, the higher quality ones tend to be the more expensive ones. It's not a rule of thumb, but it's a good guide to go by. But again, any questions, do ask. I feel bad for mentioning the doTERRA thing. I'm not part of the scheme. I just have an account to enable me to get. So yeah, if you do want any, I'm not advocating doTERRA oils at all. I keep saying that word. I'm not advocating. I'm not saying that they're any better than any other oils at all. Again, pure preference. So yeah, any questions, give me a shout. Have a fantastic weekend. Have a lovely Saturday. I shall see you. What have we got next week? Do you know, I can't remember. That's really bad. We've got, that's what we have got. We have got the endometriosis questions and answer session, the health clinic, all about endometriosis on Tuesday night, I think it is. I've had a few questions through. If you've got any questions at all, either pop them in the group or message me. And that question can be anything about endometriosis, symptoms, causes, cures, my views, other people's views, whatever your questions, then I will answer them. We've got 45 minutes, the health clinic's 45 minutes. Every month. So if you have any questions, let me know. I've had a few through. Even if you think it's a daft question, there's no such thing as a daft question. Even if you think it's already been covered this month, that's absolutely fine. We've talked about so much this month, and I'm not for a second thinking that, I mean, even I can't remember what we've talked about, so I'm not for a second thinking that people have watched everything this month. So if there's anything that you want to ask me to be answered next Tuesday, just drop me a line. Okay, thank you very much for watching, guys. Those who've watched, I've seen you there. Any questions, give me a shout if you're watching on replay. Whatever time you're watching, I hope you're having or had a good weekend. Take care, and I shall see you next week.